evening, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 2 between In Loving Memory of DCC and Vietnam Dream Team here in the AEL Amateur Weekly Cup Mini March Madness. My name is Coldblood, and joining me once again is D'Amico. How are you, boss?
Oh, I'm good. I'm still, I think, trying to catch my breath from that incredibly fast and incredibly intense match we just saw between these two teams. I mean, I don't. Did we even make it to the 10-minute mark? I don't even
Nope,
think we did.
8:45 was the tap
8:45.
out.
I don't think I've seen a game go through that quickly ever, to be honest. Or at least casted a game that I've seen go through that quickly.
Yeah, not for lack of trying, though.
Oh yeah, and now I think in Loving Memory have something to kind of prove. They're going to put their foot down. They picked up an Ember Spirit as their first pick, and we all know how brutal a mid Ember Spirit can be.
Yeah, once he gets his levels up, gets about the level 7-8 mark, he will just roam around and kill everything. And Queen of Pain is quite similar to that description as well. They've taken the Visage away, definitely fair enough. They've also taken the Vengeful Spirit away. And the Tiny is going to be the pickup for the Vietnamese Dream Team. I'm not quite sure where he goes, Dom.
That is a difficult one. Tiny can... I think you'll find that he's going to be playing in the support lane, I'd like to say. He can go mid. You can put the Tiny mid. I wouldn't put him in the off lane personally, solely because I feel like Tiny, even with his stun, doesn't have a great capability of escaping. He certainly doesn't. I mean, he's a melee. He certainly doesn't have the ability to run in and get last hits, which is going to leave him kind of out in the cold a little bit.
Yeah, he can't get denied. He needs to get those levels in his grow. Hopefully he gets an Ag Scepter and then gets a whole ton of attack speed. That'd be great, but of course he needs gold for that.
Well, it depends if we're going to see them go as, brutally aggressive as we saw them go. I mean, they utilize their stuns and, exceptional damage early on in the game. They may be doing that again. They may be looking for a very sound stun, which of course Tiny is. It not only, it can stun multiple people in one go and stuns for a decent amount of time. And then they picked up Alina there. There's another stun, as well as a significant amount of damage. They may be going for this early game aggressive push yet again.
Yeah, I was just noticing they've got a heck of a lot of burst damage, maybe lacking in the sustained damage area. I mean, if they get a carry that, like Lifestealer, that does a lot of sustained damage, that'd be okay. But like you say, they might want a stronger early game carry. They may be thinking about it now, or they could go perhaps for another support. We'll have to see where they go. I love the Rubik pick here. There is a ton of great things for him to pick up. All of Queen of Pain spells are great for Rubik. He'd love to get the Laguna? I don't know how to say that. The Lena ult?
Yeah, Laguna Blade.
Isn't Lagoon like a body of water? Or a cove?
A lagoon is, yes. But not a Laguna.
Laguna. Okay.
Otherwise, you'd be looking at Laguna, and I really don't think that a Laguna...
that sounds weird.
I mean, that just doesn't sound nice, does it? That doesn't roll if you're talking... Look at, she's gorgeous. She wouldn't have a Laguna blade. That's like a bogan in Western Australia. she's Laguna. Definitely.
Or in Queensland, just saying.
Oh, don't even. You know I'm miles ahead of you.
Yeah, fair enough. Only in the ACT. So Omni Knight, of course, he puts out a lot of burst damage with the Purification. Doesn't offer a whole lot else apart from protection. But as far as early game damage goes, he certainly has it, particularly if he gets ahead in the experience. They're going to once again pick up the Invoker. That is the Dire team here. And to be fair, the Sunstrikes were on point a lot of the time.
They were actually very well timed. I think he has amazing observation of the map. Like, he knows what's going on. There's probably fantastic communication between these team members, and hopefully this game they actually get a chance to really show us what they've got. And I'm loving their team pickup. I mean, as you said, the Rubik, fantastic. There's a lot to steal, but the best thing about Rubik here as well is that Rubik's ability to lift and pull a hero back into it. I mean, with the Ember Spirit, with the Invoker, and even with the Vengeful, they have a lot of kind of single point, very kind of burst damage abilities here. So Rubik being able to stop these heroes from getting away from them is going to be really important, especially with heroes like the Queen of Pain, who of course go in there, do significant damage, blink out and escape.
Yeah, very hard to do that when you're lifted up by the Grand Mages. So we may have a carry Ember Spirit here, and of course he works quite well in that way. He needs to change up his build a little bit because he'll be getting less experience. They love to max out the Flame Guard, which does a lot of damage, and then go for the Sleight of Fist. But with those single target CCs you were talking about, they can lock someone down, throw them away from the creep wave, and then RNG will not interfere with the Searing Chains, because if it goes on 2 creeps and the enemy is able to walk away, you're quite sad. Templar Assassin will be the pickup for Vietnamese Dream Team after they ban out the Darkseer, which is certainly fair enough with an Ember Spirit on the other team. So it's we're going to have to deliberate on who's going where. It may be a carry Queen of Pain, or like a safe lane, but I wonder what Living Memory can go for here.
I mean, it's an interesting support combination coming out from the Vietnamese Dream Team. I mean, obviously you've got your Omni Knight, which is fantastically strong support. He has wonderful, like, even just his melee hit does significant damage, and of course his ability to repel, that's going to be very, very useful against, in an Invoker, against a Rubik, depending on the spells that he picks up here. But with the Tiny and the Lena, you kind of have a similar situation that we had previously in the first map with the Visage. Both these heroes can play support, but both these heroes can also play as a roaming ganker, and they can be quite threatening, especially in the early game, with their ability to move around the map quickly, their stuns, their significant damage for being a low level. So I think Vietnamese have the setup here to go the early aggression again. In saying that, in Loving Memory, I much prefer the pick that they have right here. They've sort of taken Vietnamese Dream Team's concept of map 1 and brought it here into the second game, because they too have a lot of stun and have a lot of that early damage, so they're going to be able to go a little bit more head to head with them if they try and push it.
It's interesting that Morana lasted this long without getting picked or banned in either of these two games. She's been very, very highly contested, not only this week in this tournament, but in the Australian Esports League finals, as well as the defense of the Australian finals. She was very, very highly regarded there. So she's going to be the very last pickup for In Loving Memory. And the Sacred Arrow certainly works well with the Magic Missile and the Telekinesis, as we've said. But where these teams are going to go, once again, is a difficult thing to call. These teams love taking the flexible options. Had to think about that one.
No, don't mind me. I'm just remembering that I also have my stream up, and that I should probably be looking at something other than a tree. Do you always forget?
Hey, maybe you got some hippies watching.
It's Australian.
They probably wouldn't like the tangos then. Okay, so representing the Vietnamese Dream Team .mg, we have Takot KQT as the captain, played in the International. He will be on the Omni Knight this time. We have stand-in on the Tiny, Jack on the Lena, Miggles on the Templar Assassin, and 7K will be the Queen of Pen.
Yep, and on the Dire side, we have WNHS on the Ember Spirit. We have... what did we decide this was? Synergy? Synergy?
Maybe it's like Size-Eye Guy or something.
Maybe. We have 5 on the Vengeful Spirit. We've got Sen on the Invoker. We've got Monochrome on our Mirana.
Okay, so it looks like Mirana going to be going offlane. I definitely agree with that one. The leap makes her very, very elusive, and she can farm under turret fairly well. And will we have a 2-1-2 setup here? Well, we have Templar Assassin going by herself at the moment against the Mirana. I'm not sure how that one will work out, actually. Both of these heroes, TA can pick up the range and she can pick up the refraction, so that may turn into a kill lane. No, sorry, the opposite of a kill lane, a farm lane. And it looks as though we do have the Queen of Pain and the Omni Knight going top. And, I mean, Purification only adds to Queen of Pain's AoE burst once she jumps in.
I'm loving this mid lane combination here between the Lena and the Tiny. As I was saying before, these two combos with their stuns can be significant in the early game with their ability to gank and even just push out of lane. And here Tiny has the ability now to get the farm, to get the items with Lena there to keep that Invoker pushed back a little bit. It's just a nice safe way for Tiny to get a little bit further ahead than you would expect if they had done trialing.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if the Queen of Pain suffers for being in a 2v3, but at the moment with Rubik off creep pulling, it's only a 2-on-2 at the moment, and they're playing quite passively thus far. The green team certainly ahead in the CS in this early first minute. Down at the bottom lane, looks like a lot of damage going on to Mirana just because of the pass-through splash of the TA. Level 2 has been acquired at the bottom lane. He started off with Repel just like you said, Dom. Very, very useful against those single target CCs. But now that they've picked up the level 2, I'm wondering if they'll go aggressive or just push and try and contest these creep camps.
I think we're going to see similar to what they did in map 1, which is where they really focused on making sure that, you know, each lane was significantly pushed in. They put themselves in a position where, you know, they could be aggressive, where they could kind of set themselves up and line up. And we see that right here. I mean, we don't have anyone pulling for the Templar. We see top lane, despite the fact that obviously there's only 2 of them and you're going to be pulling the lane. This is not a bad setup for them to be. I mean, people may say, oh, well, you know, they're not getting creep kills, they're not getting kills, but considering VDT plays so aggressive, knowing that they can be in that side jungle there, waiting for someone to get caught out, you know, trying to pull a creep, trying to pull the neutral creeps, I should say, it's kind of perfect for them. I expect that they're going to use it and they're going to exploit it.
Yeah, well, the congestion that they're applying on these camps is they're not directly contesting, but they are kind of stealing in a way. As I hope that's an unpause by VDT. It is indeed. I love the Omni Knight because I think he only, in protection of a carry, he only loses out to Abaddon in terms of strength. And now it looks as though I, in loving memory, may go aggressive, but Rubik only sitting at level 1 at the moment. The other 2 are at level 2, so Wave of Terror, Magic Missile are both available. In the mid, we can see the Invoker is having a lot of trouble since he is going a Quas build, which means his damage very, very low. The recent
Stan coming out here on the Queen of Pain from the Vengeful, but she's just teasing,
That Repel was
Omni,
a little
of course,
late.
coming in with the Repel, yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're going to just exchange some blows here in this top lane back and forth and kind of feel each other out, but they're going to have to be careful because, you know, they do have 3 people versus 2, which means that we're going to see the Radiant side get levels a lot quicker than we're going to see it on the Dire side. And I normally wouldn't think that's a problem, but of course Rubik really needs that level 6 to be viable in a battle.
Yes, certainly. I'm glad you're keeping an eye on top because I was looking at mid at that point. The recent patch 6.80 reduced Invoker's damage by 3, which meant if he doesn't go Exhort, he has a lot of trouble contesting those last hits. And as we can see, he is going for that control utility Invoker build, so he's having a massive amount of trouble against the Tiny and the Lina, but still doing quite well for himself. He has got an Illusion Rune now to be a little bit easier for him. The creep camp still being contested by Queen of Pain. She's actually using her abilities to try and pick as many up as possible, and Purification will top her back up. They're denying this Rubik very, very well in terms of experience, and like you've pointed out, he very much loves that XP. Down at the bottom lane, we can see TA is at 20, Mirana at 7, so not doing as well as she'd hope, but once Mirana hits level 6, her global presence skyrockets and actually becomes a thing with the Moonlight Shadow.
Well, of course, I mean, a TA on bottom, I mean, with her ability to sort of push into towers and not have to worry about being bursted down, she's always going to be able to, I think, out-hit a Mirana. Mirana might have the range, but TA just has that confidence of being basically unkillable.
Oh, we see the avalanche in the mid lane. Toss of the Invoker on top of the Lina. Will it be enough?
Beautiful stun.
Oh, first blood picked up by the Vietnamese Dream Team there. Sunstrike was used after the Cyclone on stand-in. Did not end up landing. And very unfortunately for the Invoker, he had an illusion at the bottom rune, but it spawned up top. It was a haste. Tiny did manage to get it and just started whacking away. Once Invoker tried to get back to the mid lane, and the rest is history, as they say. So, well done by Vietnamese Dream Team in the mid here, shutting down the Invoker. Has not yet got the phase boots, which is very key to this build, getting the phase boots and the Force Staff as quickly as possible. As far as top lane goes, the farm looking quite equal between the 2 carries, the difference being the experience, of course. Actually, no, Ember Spirit's ahead. We can see the supports for In Loving Memory smoking their way to the mid, not going to do too much with it though. And meanwhile, TA going to take down Mirana up at the bottom lane, but Invoker
we missed that one.
Has something to say about it. He has Cold Snap and Tornado. He's going to miss the Tornado. Can he apply the Cold Snap? No, TA very, very fast, 355 with just the boots one. Going to sprint her way out of there.
Well, we do have a rotation here from top coming towards this midsection, of course. Their Invoker is currently not there. This is going to leave mid open. Oh, Lena separating herself from Tiny. She doesn't realize.
Oh, they're waiting for the Invoker to get closer. She's going to run right into a Vengeful Spirit and Rubik. That is not what she wanted to see. Can they give Invoker the kill? They do indeed. Beautifully done by In Loving Memory of DCC. That Lena was like, wait a second.
That was fantastically set up. That was just brilliant to sit there and have that patience to wait it out just to ensure that your Invoker is going to get the kill to make up from the earlier death. I mean, that basically does eradicate, some of the damage there taken from the Invoker going down.
Oh, so the Templar Assassin using her traps very smartly to help her mid control the runes. As we have pings up the top, Lena has finally rejoined her fellow tri-laners, which of course they couldn't be called, but normally they would. She's actually got a level advantage to everyone up here, which is thanks to dominating in that mid lane. As Tiny is going to throw a creep on top of Invoker, he's forced to get the heck out of there. Lena getting close to the ultimate, but Ember Spirit, almost at level 6 himself, becomes very, very mobile once he has access to those fire remnants. And Tiny, he looks as though he wants to move around. He's got a double damage rune. He's going to throw the avalanche on Invoker. I don't think there's a lot Invoker can do here. Gets thrown up in the air. Cold Snap is used on Tiny. Gets procced by the tower. Not enough. And 254 gold goes into the non-existent pockets of the Stone Giant.
That was gorgeous. Having a double damage there. I love when I see people not waste their double damage. Like, he was in full health. He was in full mana. But he knew it wouldn't matter. He knew he'd get in there. And, I mean, we saw the damage that tower did. There was a slight chance that if he hadn't killed the Invoker as fast as he did, that tower would
top lane. We got the pings going off on the Omni Knight and the Queen of Pain. Ember Spirit going to be coming in, throws out the shackles. One of them does land on the Quap, and it will take her down. Magic Missile goes out by the Omni Knight. Sleight of Hand goes out. Will the Rubik fall? No, he does not. Beautifully done there. The Ember Spirit picked up one of those kills. The other one went the way of... not sure. Oh, it was the Rubik who picked that one up. They'll be very happy with that one, equaling up the kills. And yeah, brilliant execution there.
Yeah, unfortunate for Tiny there, TPing in from the mid and just trying to catch that Rubik out. But of course, Rubik had already escaped back to his home base. That was a beautiful.
Tiny starting to bulk up. He's going to the gym. Starting to get stronger. He actually throws a Queen of Pain in there. And Blink to the other side. That Vengeful Spirit was not getting out. I was wondering what Tiny was up to.
That was great. This stand-in, I think they should pick him up. Absolutely incredibly valuable player. Like, just has really good, I should say, observation of the map. Fantastic knowledge
in the mid lane, we have the Moonlight Shadow going off in response to the TA using haste to come in here. She throws out the trap and slows the Invoker, but they manage to turn it around, pick up the Lena. Sacred Arrow lands onto Templar Assassin's face. Will she meld? She'll just throw off a trap, doing a huge amount of damage to Mirana. She's got to leap out of there. Invoker and Vengeful Spirit coming in, but Refraction Shield will absorb that one. Haste now runs out, and she's trying to turn this one around. 4-on-1 and doing a massive amount of damage, but Telekinesis will be used there straight into a Magic Missile. No, it was a Sacred Missile that went off. Magic Missile does not have enough mana, but the Tornado does enough damage to throw her down. Toss does a massive amount of damage. Can he throw out the Avalanche? He already has. Is getting stunned by the Cold Snap. Mirana stands there, and he runs straight into the death. That is a double kill for Invoker. Laguna Blade goes out onto the Invoker. A 3-for-1 trade when all is said and done. Top tier 1 may go down, but phenomenal play from the 0-1 down Dire team.
That was exceptional. The way that VDT ran in, I mean, if they'd been all together, if they'd been that little bit faster about their rotation, I think that could have easily turned around. And when we saw the Mirana and the Rubik get incredibly low there, but unfortunately Tiny just that fraction too late to save our poor Templar Assassin. And of course, Lena coming in there and getting picked up so close to getting that Rubik.
Well, they were close to getting him a few times. I loved it when that Mirana just turned around and started gunning down the Tiny with her bow.
She just knew. She just knew she was safe.
She would have looked like a real... will a real be if it hadn't worked out. Kind of like when you try to make a really risky move, like doing a blind old blink on Sand King. If it works out, you look amazing, and if it doesn't, you look like an idiot.
Arrow's coming out. Is it going to connect? It's not going to connect with anyone. But we do have an Invis Invoker, and they're going to want to utilize this. We have three of the Radiant in mid. We've got 4 of the Dire.
Tiny getting dangerously close to the Rubik here, and there is an Ember Spirit. He is able to jump forward. They will go forward. The Tornado lands on top of him. Cold Snap is being used. Shackle, Purification heals him up, and the Light Strike Array going to do a bunch of stunning. EMP will hit Tiny, and Rubik going to pick up his 3rd kill thus far, and in loving memory going to take a nice advantage. He steals Purification, a beautiful spell steal there, and they realize they need to fall back and defend the tier 2 atop.
Just exceptional rotations here. We still, if we look in bottom lane, we do see that Templar Assassin, though, still farming away quite confidently. Yes, they have gone down, but it hasn't really stopped her.
Rubik, what are you doing there? Oh, he's actually going to use the Purification as a massive nuke to the Quap. She's forced out and uses the healing salve. You don't expect a Rubik to do that to you.
Well, there's that aggression we were talking about with Rubik. As soon as Rubik hits level 6, it suddenly becomes so much more than a support player. Depending on the spell you pick up, this Rubik can be a nasty surprise.
What I love here, Dom, is he knows that there's a ward there because Quap was waiting for him, so they know that there was a ward that signaled him out. Now Avalanche going to pick up the kill in the top part of the river there. Massive amount of burst onto the Invoker, but the Shadow Blade has gone off, or Shadow Poison, but Ghost Walk has been popped by Invoker. Can he possibly get out here? Omni Knight uses his Purification to top him off there. Moonlight Shadow has been popped, and that is because TA was getting very antsy down at the bottom lane. Will Ember Spirit use this invisibility? No. The ward at the top of the river has been taken out. So what I really like there, Dom, is he drew a ring there. They knew that there was a ward on that, and he went and dealt with it. Sacred Arrow will land onto Lena just at the tier 1 in the Midlands. Nice repel there, going to stop a lot of that Flame Guard damage from the Ember Spirit, and Lena gets thrown right on top of the Mirana there. Laguna Blade going to pick up a 2nd kill for the Vietnamese Dream Team in the skirmish. TA was down bot, pushing the entire time. The last of their outer towers will fall with the death of the tier 1 down here. Tiny going to take down Rubik in the mid as well, being much too far forward, and things starting to slip a little bit for our Dire team.
We've just got to really, just sitting back here and reflecting on what I'm seeing, the tag team capabilities of BDT is incredible. Their communication and their knowledge of when to cast their spells is so exceptional. You don't see their stuns overlapping. You don't see them, trying to ulti the same heroes. They're very, very confident and very calm when they go into battle. You don't see them freaking out. And that's just a sign of really a team that just melds and works together very, very well. Even the stand-in, usually when you see a stand-in come in, it's a little bit off. You can always tell it's a tiny little bit off, usually with a stand-in, but not in this case. Their synergy is just fantastic.
Speaking of the stand-in, he's just had Toss stolen from him by the Rubik, so we'll have to see if that synergy we're talking about is turned around on them. Having an Ember Spirit thrown into your team would be quite devastating.
That'd be quite terrifying. And of course, an Omni may not be able to react fast enough to get the repel out on the right people. So.
Oh, down at the bottom lane, Invoker will get slowed by the trap, and actually he tries to turn it around, throws out the EMP Cyclone combo, takes a lot of mana from the Phantom Assassin. But yeah, what I was just thinking, Dom, Omni Knight is fantastic against Ember Spirit because he stops physical attacks because of his ult, he stops magic damage, and early on, Ember Spirit, he relies on that damage of the Flame Guard there. Sacred Arrow will come out, but Queen of Pain will teleport out of that one. Shackles is on cooldown, so they will not be able to interrupt that. A bunch of drawings coming out.
Turnaround here. VDT want to go in on this Vengeful. Vengefule's going to keep running and get caught out. There goes the stun. There goes the toss. Too clean. There's nothing here that Rubik can do except get away, get out of firing distance, and wait for the rotation for the rest of the team. Mirana, what are you doing? Oh, I think that surprised everyone. They weren't expecting that one. No stun went out, and she managed to leap away.
Oh, Purification once again being stolen by the Rubik there as Arcane Boots popped by the Lena. Sleight of Fist doing a decent bit of harassment there as Queen of Pain just waiting off to the side, working on her Orchid Malevolence. We have Vengeful Spirit coming in. Will we see a big swap stun into the tower? Would be a perfect time to do it, as long as it's not the Tiny, who has ascended to his next form, is at the level 2 in the Grow, and he has a decent bit of attack speed as well, so things are getting a little bit scary. Avalanche used on Vengeful Spirit, but the Cyclone will help her disengage for the time being. Dust of Appearance has been popped. Tiny taking a lot of damage up to the top. Queen of Pain gets blown up by the Ember Spirit. She tries to throw out some burst, but it is not enough. Vengeful Spirit has fallen. Ember Spirit in the middle of the team doing a massive amount of damage with his magic immunity shield. Takes a second kill for himself. Actually goes to the Mirana there. Ember Spirit uses the Revenant to pick himself up. A double with that mobility, and VDT are on the run. The last 2 remaining members of their team at very low health, and in loving memory of DCC, want to turn this into an objective.
That was an interesting battle there. I actually, even though obviously Dream did kind of come out there on top with the extra kill, managing to push them back, managing to go after this T1, I feel like they made a slight mistake there in targeting the Tiny. The Tiny had already used his stun. He'd basically used, you know, the strongest spell that he had. And yes, Mirana's arrow did go out and did smack him, and that's fantastic. It takes Tiny out, means the toss isn't there. But then they did focus on him. And Tiny isn't going to go down easily. It's just, that's not a hero that will. They had, I think, 2, maybe 3 heroes focusing on trying to kill him, while you had your Lina still running around either side, as well as your Templar Assassin, who went in and actually got a kill there. And I feel like maybe they should have switched their focus a little bit quicker there. They might not have lost that third player, or second player I should say. But still, well fought.
Yeah, no, it was well done. At least they removed the auto attacks of Tiny, who was sitting on a lot of damage thanks to his ultimate. We have Omni in the mid here. Another steal by Rubik. Again, the Purification. Guardian Angel would be great to steal to shut down the TA. And the... Oh, well, I mean, Tiny does a lot of nuke, but at this moment, he does a lot of right-click as well. Maybe not as much as, say, the Templar Assassin, but it's respectable. But like you said, he's very tanky, so maybe not the optimal target to be focusing at this point. Does have a double damager, and they're going to have to be mindful of that. Quap applying pressure at the top. The entirety of the Dire team forced to stand in the mid here. They're going to throw out the Cyclone. It does hit Lina, and Tiny Sacred Arrow will not land, but the rest of it will. Purification used by the Lina. She does get a kill on the Vengeful Spirit, and Stand-In going to get a kill on the Invoker there. They're chasing him down. Revenant used by Ember Spirit. Beautiful shackles there. He will lock up all 2 of the VDT members there. 2 for 3. Nice turnaround. TA is going to come in. Purification used by Rubik on himself, but he will still end up falling. Will Mirana fall as well? No, they're going to try and take her down. Leap gives some move and attack speed to them. And a 4 for 3 with the top tower being mitigated thanks to the Glyph of Fortification. Quap very hard to lock down as well. So again, they win the fight, but they can't turn it into anything, Dom. Even they're losing objectives after winning the fight, and fights mean nothing if you don't do something with it. They're getting golden experience.
Both sides there. That was just an incredible fight from both sides. I don't know if people noticed the brilliant timing on Omni's heal there on the Lina. Lina was just about to go down. The heal went out, giving Lina the time to not only get her stun out, but her ulti as well, getting a kill. And getting those revenge kills is so important. Lina knew she was going to die, but she took someone out, even though she took it out. And then we had the return on the Rubik picking up that heal and doing exactly the same thing there. I mean, the Templar Assassin came in, she was coaxed into that battle, and Rubik managed to keep himself alive long enough to pull that Templar Assassin in, allowing them to dust and taking TA out as well. And that's the revenge kill we're talking about again. I mean, you see this in a lot of competitive games. Revenge kills, that's what it's about. If you're going to die, take someone down with you, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, that's why they're not being able to push here. Both teams played that out exceptionally well, and even though VDT technically lost, they lost more heroes. I mean, that was as even a draw as you're going to get.
No, certainly, yeah, it was very well done by both teams. Funny watching in mid, double Purification used at the same time, and then the trap gets put down in the creep wave, they turn around and destroy it. So we have Ember Spirit, he's finally getting some farm to himself, starting to get those all-important levels. Lina doing the same thing at the bottom. Level 11, you don't often see supports reaching their level 2 ultimate this early, and I like how the Dire team have forced a Vanguard on the TA at the 18-minute mark she picked it up. It starts to get less efficient the later in the game you pick it up. And she's worried about the auto attacks of the Ember Spirit and the Mirana, so it's good for them to force that. Smoke is coming in, and the blink forward by the TA Shackles is used, but it will not be enough. The scream of pain comes out from the Quap. Can they get the Ember Spirit? The creep is thrown into him, and that will be a 2-for-0 with nice Smoke of Deceit used there. Moonlight Shadow Force and does absolutely nothing to stop it, and the tier 2 may also fall thanks to the Quap paying it some special attention. TA thrown into it just for good measure, and now it looks like the T2 in the mid may be next on the menu.
I think at this point, I mean, both teams are playing very well, but I think you've got to look at the weak links in these teams to start and see how the fight's going to go. And unfortunately, on Dream's side, the Vengeful doesn't have anything. Like, just has been kept out of this battle. And yes, Vengeful doesn't need a lot of things. I mean, when you consider about it, a stun, you know, quickly throw all your spells out there, then run away. But losing that one hero, losing that, even the right click, even the auto attack, losing that damage against a team like VDT, that's a weakness you don't want. They need to get that Vengeful into a position where she can support beyond the stun.
Yes, certainly. So the Ember Spirit going for his Battle Fury is about 1,300 gold off of that one. It does proc on his sleight of hand, so a lot of AoE damage will go out every time he procs that, but it is certainly late for a Battle Fury on a mid to late game carry like the Ember Spirit is. A lot of pings going down at the Roche Pit. The Courier is here, has a lot of items on it. Tiny does now have his Ag Scepter, so he's going to pick himself up a tree. Nice Light Strike Array there by Lina, going to take down the Mirana. Tiny coming in to secure that one for himself with his big trunk there, as Invoker and the Ember Spirit stranded underneath their tower. TA is going to come right out and do absolutely nothing, as well, actually, no, they're going to throw the Shackle on. During the Sleight of Hand, Wave of Terror comes out as well as Telekinesis. Refraction Shield will help her tank that, and that was a terrible swap from the Vengeful Spirit there, not helping them in the slightest. 4-for-0 thus far. Ember Spirit can take no one with him. Omni Knight going to stride away from that battle with almost death, but he is the Omni Knight. He is difficult to take down. The last of the structures outside of Dire's base goes down, along with a complete team wipe for nothing. And things looking very dire for the Dire, if you don't mind saying.
Unacceptable. That was absolutely brutal. I mean, so many of VDT were walking dead right there. They were so low health. But there's just no response. No response on the Radiant side. There was absolutely nothing they could do there. They were spread out a little bit too far. And as you said, that Vengeful swap, unfortunately, not helping them out there. And I mean, that's that weak link that I was talking about right there. And I don't think it's, you know, necessarily...
Oh, God.
Oh, dear. Queen of Pain.
Oh, she got it.
Walking Dead, that's what I was talking about.
At least her dot got the satire for her.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh, this Tiny's looking very scary, though.
Vengeful just needs to either get something or get out of the battle, or get into a position where the swap is going to be beneficial for their team. They need to bring in someone, you know, like the Tiny, or even the Lina, take out someone who's really affecting them. We're going to see a Smoke up here. They're going to look for a gank. They've been spotted out by Lina, who's managed to force stuff away. For Cyclone coming out. She's there, she's waiting. She's going to try and lead them up into the Tiny, who's going to turn this around, but Lina goes down. Oh, not before Tiny absolutely smashes their faces in. 3 go down for that 1 kill.
Oh, the TA trap
will be is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 4? Yes, it is. Can he make it? TD? Is Tiny going to go for the team down? He is going to go for it. Mirana, you need to get out of there. This is not a fight you want to win. Oh, there it is.
A pentakill for the Tiny. The baits are strong with the Lina.
What is that?
Pentakill, that's 5 kills, shut up.
Keep that out of my game.
I was just going to point out this Tiny is so scary with the Mask of Madness because he has over 320 damage, so attack speed making him just so ridiculous to deal with, and then, you know, he kind of said it for me. So, and it was nice trap management by Miggles too. He popped that trap from the other side of the map by pressing D on it. Toss being picked up by Rubik. Hopefully he doesn't throw his Vengeful Spirit into the middle, unless he throws VS to the other side of the fight and then swaps Tiny. That'd be cool.
That wouldn't be too bad, actually.
Yeah, that'd be.
I'd love to see that kind of communication. I mean, like VDT, obviously, as you were saying before, you know, the trap being popped. It's just that communication. It's that observation that they have. The awareness, the map awareness is exceptional on this team. And I think that I think Dream also has it, but I think that I don't know if they're maybe perhaps slightly intimidated mentally. I find that they hesitate a little bit going into their battles, and they really shouldn't, because they're playing, I mean, their Rubik's playing exceptionally well. Their Invoker is very strong. They just need to really think about what they're going to do, and this is a good chance for them to do it. Here comes the Roshan. Are they going to contest this? They're not going to be able to get it. Or will they contest the fight straight after?
Poor Lena is going to try and zone them out. She does pay for it with her life, but the Dire team is getting decimated. We had the Aegis passing over to, I'm not quite sure, I think it was the Tiny. It was indeed going to get himself a 4-kill with
he
the
was going for the 2 down, but Vengeful Spirit goes, no. There comes the sorry
Goodbye.
No, sorry. Not another team down for you. I can't allow it.
Oh, he's going to get AC now.
There goes the good game. They're not going to let this Tiny get any more kills. Stand in. Stand in. I want to know who you are. What is your name? What is your name? Because you are my MVP. That was absolutely brilliantly played by the entire VDT team. I mean, even from the very beginning there, that Lena Tiny combo in mid, I mean, that's why Tiny could be as brutal as he was. That was some fantastic supporting there.
Yes, he did absolutely brilliant. I'd have to agree with you on the MVP. He had an entire assault cuirass on the chicken headed towards him. Honourable shout out to Jack for spending the first half of the game assisting Tiny and the other half just masturbating like a boss. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gents. We very much appreciate it. Been an exciting series between these two. At 8 PM tomorrow we will bring you some more games, and then on Saturday starting at 12 we have an entire day of Australian Dota action for you. And Dom, thank you so much for assisting me here.
Well, I don't know how much help I was. I feel incredibly rusty. You have blown me away with how much you have improved since the days when you started. I think I was there for your first Dota 2 cast.
I didn't know what the camera did.
The evil of the LOL.
I think I had the gold. What is it called? The gold difference in gold earned up the whole time.
It was pretty amazing. It was pretty epically potato the first time you casted, but you sir have improved immensely, and now I feel like the epic potato, and I have a lot to catch up on if I'm going to continue doing this in the future. But it's been an absolute pleasure to be here. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch these two teams play some magnificent Dota 2, and I look forward to maybe casting, but definitely watching.
Okay, thank you to all the viewers on Dota TV. Thank you at GameStar TV 2. Thank you at Dom's channel. Make sure to go check out her Twitch. It's on the right hand side of the screen there. Thank you to OzGamers for supporting GameStar with their servers. If you need anything like that, head on over to them. Thank you to Esports Daily and AEL for supporting the Amateur Weekend Cup. And have a wonderful night, ladies and gents. This is Coldblood and D'Amica signing out.
Good night.